And you had that for breakfast?
Yeah!
Hello everyone, it's me, Bryson P.
And it's me, Charlie.
And me, Adrian.
And today we're going to be learning about what medieval junk food was like. And just based on the very beginning opening, it says the stocking up on chips and Twinkies. And whenever I scroll down, I'll read this to you right quick. It says, what was medieval junk food like? If you're picturing knights eating Big Macs and Twinkies, you're not far off from the truth. Just substitute a meat pie for the Big Mac and a funnel cake for the Twinkies, and you'll have a good idea of what medieval people bought on the street. But knights didn't ride their horses to the medieval drive-thrus. Instead, medieval junk food usually catered to the poorest people and travelers. So, let's find out. Let's get our headphones and start this video. Ready?
Uh-huh.
Stocking up on chips and Twinkies and hitting the drive-thru for a greasy cheeseburger seem like modern institutions. But the world's love affair with junk food is a tale as old as time. A lot of what would become the fast food industry began in medieval Europe, where people satisfied their junk food cravings with some interesting cuisine. But knights weren't exactly galloping their horses through the drive-thru or grabbing candy bars on their way to the castle. Instead, medieval fast food catered to travelers and the poor, and it wasn't always tasty. Today in Weird History, we're taking a look at what junk food was like in the Middle Ages. But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Weird History channel. And while you're there, leave a comment and let us know what other historical food topics you would like to hear about next. Okay, time to get medieval on those Cool Ranch Doritos.
Okay, it says takeout was invented because poor Londoners weren't able to cook.
London is a city known for its major landmarks and for being a hub of British culture, as well as being the place where Harry Potter was hatched in Big Ben by owls. During the Middle Ages, London was a center of trade and commerce, but poverty throughout Europe was high. So for many Londoners, it wasn't easy, convenient, or even possible to cook at home. Cooking equipment and fuel weren't exactly cheap. On top of that, the poor were packed into tenement housing that often didn't have any furnishings, let alone a hearth. Without a hearth, cooking was essentially an unscalable mountain, unless you wanted to fill your home with smoke and risk burning your already meager dwellings to the ground.
I don't know what a hearth is, but I'm assuming it's that.
Like a stove.
Yeah, like almost like a brick oven for pizza.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think that's what it is.
Yeah. Oh, that's what it looked like in the picture. The
Yeah.
closest thing that we could relate it to.
Yeah. It really looks like one.
So people visited cook shops instead, the old-timey
Like
equivalent
that.
of picking up
Yeah.
some takeout. Cook shops sprouted up around the Thames to serve the community's fast food needs. These 24-hour cook shops supplied hot food to tourists and residents alike. They were open every day, with menus that changed depending on the season. But instead of driving through on a chariot or horse, the cook shops offered more of a stroll-through experience. Customers would walk up to the shops to purchase their favorite hot meal. Others would buy what they wanted, then take it home to eat later, because scarfing down a plate of takeout is not always...
I don't know if you caught that, but just a few seconds ago he said that they were open 24 hours a day. Did you catch that part?
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have thought that, because I would have thought that places being open 24 hours like McDonald's and stuff like that would have been more of our time, more modern, not a shop that you could have went to 24 hours a day and got junk food from back in medieval times or way, way back then, as we would think.
Yeah. Like, that wouldn't be possible.
Oh, it is possible. That's what he just said.
I know.
I mean,
it feels not
why are
Right.
Why aren't our drive-thrus 24 hours, open for 24 hours a day, when the medieval drive-thrus were open 24 hours a day?
Well, a lot of places, they still have 24-hour day service, and there's a lot of places that you can get that. But like Waffle House used to be 24 hours before COVID.
What?
Mm-hmm. You could Walmart was 24 hours. You could go to Walmart and go grocery shopping at 2 o'clock in the morning before COVID.
Cool.
McDonald's, the one over here on the boulevard, that was open 24 hours. You could go there at 3 o'clock in the morning and get
A
breakfast.
cheeseburger.
What?
Yeah. But not anymore. They closed now because of COVID, so everything is... Ever since COVID happened and all the shutdowns, and ever since then, there's not really a lot of the 24-hour options anymore.
And you can get a 10-piece chicken nugget for dinner.
But now, remember the other day we were looking at Rallies, and they were open until 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And then opened back up at 6 o'clock in the morning, so they were only closed for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you want to do in public. Cook shops weren't limited to London. One city street in Bristol became known as Cook's Row. Bristol's cook shops offered more variety, including poultry and fish, and may have been among the first to subscribe to the adage, "It's the smell that sells." They'd have their hearths outside the shop and would strategically throw food on to cook so that the smell would entice customers over to grab a quick bite. Some shops served sweets. Others were known for their pancakes and bread. But the most popular might have been the shops that sold meat pies. Those delicious meat-based treats were a popular seller. Kind of.
What do you think about that? A meat pie?
Ew.
It reminds me of chicken pot pie.
That's what I was going to ask you. Was
Yeah.
It reminded you of that? But you like chicken pot pies,
I do not.
love chicken pot pie.
and you don't.
I do not.
Yeah, I know.
And I cannot stand the smell either. And she can't stand the smell of peanut butter granola bars.
Oh, yeah?
And she doesn't
I
like
can't-
the taste.
I can't
But I
believe
do.
they actually make peanut butter granola bars.
They're good to me. She doesn't like the taste either.
Let's see what else they got to say.
Kind of like a medieval hamburger, but without the fries and Coke. Speaking of burgers, everyone loves a Big Mac. There's just something about clenching most of the basic food groups in your fist and then horking them down like a snake smuggling dinner through airport security. So it makes sense that meat pies, the dark age version of a drive-in hamburger, were so popular. These savory little hot pockets were filling and portable, the mark of a blockbuster fast food item. But Mrs. Lovett's signature dish had a dark side: spoiled meat. As it turns out, rancid ingredients could be a real problem in medieval cuisine. According to a
Yeah.
13th century Norwich
Ew.
report,
Ugh.
cooks would use diseased pork in their pies and
What?
serve them to customers without batting an eye. It wasn't uncommon for shop owners to warm up days-old spoiled pies instead of wasting them. Poverty was extremely desperate, and food safety wasn't exactly on the cooks' minds. So the decision whether to heap expired food onto the garbage cart or reheat it and sell it to customers was often disturbingly easy. Probably like it is today, if we're being totally honest. When they weren't recycling bad food, shops often undercooked the meat, which earned some cooks a bad reputation. A saying from the time claimed, "God sends the meat, but the devil sends the cooks." The shift manager at Waffle House used to say the same thing.
Hey, look.
Waffle House! Waffle House! I said it before any of y'all could read it.
It's a
Um,
Waffle House.
For those of you not from the southern area of the United States of America, they definitely don't have Waffle Houses, and it's not a commodity that they are familiar with.
My favorite place.
It's one of the treats that we have that is just unique to our region, because it's not everywhere, even in the United States. It's only in certain regions and parts of the United States as well.
I would hate to eat old meat that would make me sick. I would
Yeah.
not like that.
If they served me one piece of that, I would just leave that place.
Bread was one of the most common foods during Europe's Castle period, but most households didn't have their own grain, so they had to buy it from bakers. And while selling ready-made bread was great, bakers could do much more than that for their customers. For example, if someone brought their own meat to the bakery, they could have the baker wrap it in bread and bake it. The idea caught on, maybe a little too well. London passed a law in 1350 preventing bakers from charging more than a penny if customers brought their own meat from home. Meanwhile, you bring your own meat to Burger King one time, and they ban you for life. It wasn't like it was a cow. I'm not sure what the big deal was. Another modern-day fast food item came about around this time too: the bread bowl. Modern Europeans pioneered the concept by serving soup and stews in a bowl made out of bread, which they called trenchers.
Have you ever had?
No,
No!
but that stuff you just saw in the bread bowl before
Uh-huh.
is exactly what I see in my chicken pot pie.
Ah.
The meat, the peas, the carrots. I think I might have seen some potatoes.
Well, they have bread bowls and stuff like this at Panera Bread, I believe. I've never been there either. I have had bread bowls personally from other restaurants in the past. So I have had that style of food prepared that way.
Grammy took us to Panera Bread once, and she got herself some bread. We were just in the car. I would love to try a bread bowl.
Yeah.
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 But
Oh, it was McAllister's that I used to get the bread bowls at. Okay, my bad.
it's like an actual bowl with bread in it. Sounds like a bread
No,
bowl.
it's like this. See, it's a
The bowl is bread.
I know.
okay.
But whenever people tell me about bread bowls, I picture it like a bowl with bread in it.
Oh,
Yeah.
not a bowl of bread, but a bread made a bowl.
And I would love to have one of those if I liked all of that stuff. Yeah.
I mean, you
You can put whatever you wanted in there. Like that
Yeah.
looks like
can put
basically beef stew. But
yeah, I was
in
just
a,
about
in a
to
bread
say
bowl.
that. I was just about to say that looks like beef stew.
Yeah.
The carrots and the meat,
Yeah. Is that
the
lettuce?
potatoes.
It might be
looks like-
cilantro or
Or
something.
parsley.
Or parsley.
It could be spinach.
I don't know. That doesn't
No.
look like spinach, definitely
No,
not.
that's not spinach.
Is that broccoli in
It looks like some cooked broccoli down
Yeah.
there at the bottom, yeah.
there? Yeah.
That looks good.
Potatoes.
Potatoes.
But that's
Practice
all.
helped bulk up a meal and was probably cheaper as it cut down on the need for dishes. But bread bowls weren't the only carb-loading option of the Middle Ages. In addition to being a staple of state fairs and aimless mall wandering, soft pretzels were also incredibly popular in medieval Europe.
We had
Three
pretzels
simple ingredients combined to create the
today.
twisted treat.
I love
Just mix them.
pretzels.
We did. We had those pretzels earlier.
Yes.
I still have my cinnamon sugar pretzels. Yeah.
Yeah.
We said cinnamon sugar at the same time.
Yeah. I bet they don't have cinnamon sugar pretzels there.
Water, flour, and some salt. And you've got yourself a filling snack officially approved by the Catholic Church. That's right. During fasting periods like Lent, when Catholics avoided eating certain animal products, pretzels often took their place as a substitute. Monks would hand them out to kids reciting their prayers, while others would distribute them to the poor. Outside of the church, pretzels became a symbol of luck and prosperity. And what's not to feel lucky about when you're chowing down on a handmade pretzel? Nothing.
In other words, we are basically just modern day poor medieval people. We like bread bowls, we like pot pies, we like pretzels. We like
Yeah.
yeah, our Big Macs and going and eating at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, humans are basically the poor people in the medieval times.
I'm bringing broccoli with ranch to camp tomorrow.
Nothing completes a fast food run like a six-pack of booze, because if you're treating yourself, you might as well go all the way. And while drinking alcohol has been
Beer.
a popular activity,
Alcohol.
medieval Europeans really liked to
That
drink,
sounded familiar.
possibly because they were living in medieval Europe. Not even Lent had any effect on the common folks' thirst for
Fish?
memory-erasing refreshment. Part of observing Lent meant not eating meat, so folks would fill that gap in their regular diets with other things. Fish became the alternative choice for some, others turned to booze. While it provided temporary solace from abstaining, the practice of staying thoroughly soaked through Lent didn't sit well with some prominent religious figures. In 1400, the Benedictine monk Robert Ripon had strong words for anyone drowning their sorrows. He scolded excessive drinking as flying in the face of the abstinence that Lent was meant to symbolize, and opined that people got more drunk during Lent than they did during the entire rest of the year. Of course, he probably didn't have to eat some of the meat substitutes that commoners were forced to turn to, like the mock egg, a dish that was
Yeah.
invented as a meat replacement during Lent. If he had, he might have been pounding brews in the tavern right beside them. Making a mock egg is easy even today. Just take a few empty eggshells, fill them with a mixture of almond milk jelly and crunchy almonds. Then dye it yellow and choke it down with a mug of ale. Tasty?
Chug it
Now
down
pass
with
the
a
beer,
melon
please.
ale.
A mug of ale. It's a type of beer.
Oh. I would not eat something with an eggshell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially with
Ugh.
beer.
Kids aren't allowed to have it.
I know.
Sugar is one of those things we take for granted today. But during the medieval period, sugar was pretty hard to come by and was usually out of reach of the masses. Only those who could afford the expensive sweet stuff regularly consumed it. So rather than sugar-filled candy bars, people would flock to the cook shops for treats sweetened with honey. A fritter recipe from the 14th century cookbook Anonimo Veneziano calls for apples, saffron, flour, and honey. An earlier, more frugal fritter recipe was
That
just
sounds
fried
good.
dough, stuffed with gingered almonds and
Ooh,
topped
that
with the delicious
sounds
bee
good,
juice.
too.
Gingerbread, another popular item for satisfying the peasantry's.
Gingerbread.
Yeah. We're getting to the good stuff here.
Yeah.
It's really good stuff.
Also used honey,
Yeah.
incorporating ginger, cloves, and pepper, giving it an inimitable sweet and spicy flavor. But when you're in the mood to throw money at a cholesterol spike, there's nothing quite like the funnel cake. A delicious
Funnel
combo
cake,
of
we
fried
had
dough
those
and
at
powdered
school.
sugar. The
And I
mother of all
love them.
At school.
Yes.
Yeah, sometimes we have funnel cake for breakfast at
breakfast.
school.
Yes.
I know.
It looks
They're
just
just
like that.
And they're just as messy.
Yes.
And you had that for breakfast?
Yeah. They're so delicious.
Once, and well, not all the time. Like maybe once a month, I think.
They would have funnel cakes.
Yeah.
Did they have powdered sugar on them?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry.
That's one of the benefits of our school.
The benefits. And what grades are you in again?
I'm in 5th.
Second.
And you're having funnel cakes for breakfast at school.
There are preschoolers eating funnel cakes.
And they're hard. One time whenever I ate a funnel cake, it hurt this tooth.
Yeah, we are definitely the poor people of the medieval times. I just seriously had no idea y'all were eating funnel cakes for breakfast at school.
Not all the time.
Yeah, not all the time.
Alright, what are some other things you have for breakfast then?
Chocolate muffins.
Chocolate donuts.
Nasty, in my opinion, the nasty wheat donuts.
Pop-Tarts.
There's only one donut of the wheat donuts.
Are they super donuts?
I don't know, but
They're
they're
small
about like,
donuts.
Oh, they're small? Okay.
Honey buns.
Honey buns?
chocolate-filled croissants.
Croissants?
Tornado.
Oh, what?
Tornadoes.
Tornadoes.
One time pizza.
Yeah, pizza.
Breakfast pizza.
Breakfast pizza.
Funnel cake.
Yeah. Yeah, we've
Peanut butter and jelly.
What?
PB&J?
PB&J. PB&J.
You had peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for breakfast also?
Uncrustables.
Oh, yeah, Uncrustables.
Apple cinnamon Texas toast.
Yes. Yeah.
Those are so
I'm
good.
trying to remember because we have a whole bunch of different stuff.
Yeah.
Carnival foods got its start in medieval times. Funnel cakes began as fried cakes called.
Well, now you know. From now on, anytime that you have funnel cakes for breakfast at school, you know that you're having a medieval.
Breakfast.
Yeah, you're having medieval food for breakfast.
You didn't tell that
Because of their
to my
sugary topping,
classmates.
the cakes
There you
were a
go.
rare treat. Since ingredients like sugar was so limited, people would often improvise their own recipes, which is how we got dishes like fritter of milk, which is just fried, sweetened cottage cheese, otherwise known as a dessert you give your kids when you want to punish them. Waffles, as we know them, also came about during this time.
Oh, we have
the
waffles
original waffles
for
date back to
breakfast,
ancient
too, and
Greece,
pancakes.
known as
Oh, yeah.
ovios. They were flat cakes cooked between two plates, and they weren't sweet, which is a huge oversight that arguably contributed to Greece's downfall. Later, the Catholic Church began making flour waffle wafers, which typically depicted biblical scenes. But it wasn't until the Crusades when a more recognizable version of waffle batter, combining cinnamon, honey, and cream, really took off in Europe. And in the 15th century, the Dutch invented the famous grid patterns that transformed waffles into the optimal syrup and whipped cream delivery systems celebrated by junk food connoisseurs centuries later. Initially,
that
waffles
looks
were a common
good.
street food,
Yeah.
but would eventually become the breakfast and dessert staple we fling into toasters to this day. Thanks to the discovery of the New World, sugar became affordable and accessible to everyone by the 16th century. London even opened a sugar refinery, prompting a trend that continues in
Did it
modern
have
food processing
ice cream
today,
back
adding sugar
I
to
don't know.
almost everything. Sugar quickly replaced honey in most
Honey.
desserts. People began crystallizing their fruit in syrups, and even started using sugar to season their meats. If you cover a plate of fish and vegetables with enough sugar, eventually it tastes just like sugar, which was a welcome respite for poverty-stricken families accustomed to eating rotten meat pies. Sugary concoctions became popular junk foods during the period.
So during this time, and this is a question for you all to answer for me, but also I can tell them and give them the answer to it also as well. But with the amount of sugar being consumed during this period, once the amount of sugar was able to be more accessible from the New World, from our side of the world, then did diabetes become more rampant during that time? Or was that not necessarily something, I guess, that we really know and have good data on to know, like,
And sugar on vegetables?
I would not eat a salad with sugar.
Yeah, that sounds disgusting. Even with ranch. If you have
Yeah,
a salad with ranch, it's sugar.
I
You're
love
gonna be crazy with that.
I love salad with the raspberry vinaigrette.
Yeah.
That is so good.
Yeah. We don't care if it's with ranch, strawberry vinaigrette, any of those
raspberry.
will
It's
raspberry vinaigrette. If that has on, if you bring us a salad with that, then we're gonna eat it.
I would not eat a salad with the sugar, no matter what. Not even
Yeah.
if you paid me $1,000. I would not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah.
no. Alright, well, this video's almost done. Here we go. We got like 40 more seconds.
Including crispy crust topped with berries, fruit, or ginger, and a sweet fruit-filled ravioli called Cuscanoles. Cuscanoles is just a good name. You can picture that on a Hostess wrapper next to a mascot, like the Cuscanoles Kid. This love of sweetness transformed the European diet to such a degree that the word dessert can even be traced back to this time. Derived from the French word desservir, meaning to clear the table, the French were using it to mean last course by the mid-16th century. The English later adapted dessert to refer to the final course of fruits and sweets that people ate after their meal. The Cuscanoles Kid would be proud. So what do you think? Would you be willing to try some junk food from the Dark Ages? Let us know in the comments below. And while you're
Okay, so I guess we don't really need to let you know in the comments below since we've already gave a good bit of your reactions to it. And I learned that you all pretty much already eat your own medieval junk food, especially at school. It seems like not only did I learn a lot just from this video, but I learned a lot just from y'all too. And especially about your education and the types of food that you're eating there. Because I definitely didn't know that you were having funnel cakes for breakfast.
We haven't even told you about lunch.
Yeah, and maybe we'll find a video for future where we can, like, what is the average medieval diet? Or we can find some other types of videos like that, and we can dig deeper and find more, of course, like in future videos.
We have these, like, friendship necklaces, but they're not friendship
They're
necklaces.
sister necklaces.
Mine says little sis, and
And
hers,
And mine says big sis.
they connect just like this.
Yep. So it's the broken hearts, and they got the magnet, and they connect together, and
Like the friendship necklaces. But
Exactly.
just sister.
well, I hope that you enjoyed today's video, whatever time it is that you see this, day or night. It's me, Bryson P.
It's me, Charlie P.
And it's me, Andrew and P, and these are chokers.